What's up? Hi Bytes, Talk Python, and some random other guy.
All right. Hey, so finally the promised video interviews are happening, and this is my friend Anthony Shaw here. He's the director of learning and innovation. Dimension Data. So it's actually a huge company. You guys are how many thousand? 30,000 people, which is nuts. It's like a small country or town.
Yes, we're spread all over the world. It's in 49 countries across everywhere. So it's a pretty big spread.
That's pretty crazy. And you're also a Pluralsight Python course author, right?
Yep. So I published my first course earlier this year, which was moving from Python 2 to Python 3. And then I'm just about to publish my second course, which is what's new in Python 3.7, hopefully in time for when Python 3.7 is actually released. So the two things should be released together. So if you want to learn about 3.7, then follow any of the stuff that I've been publishing. Quite a lot of blog articles over the last couple of months on 3.7 features and stuff, as well as the course. Yeah.
I think that's a great topic, especially with legacy Python sort of now getting close to where it's just not going to be officially supported. That's sort of the last call for people to get on Python 3. But so actually what we wanted to talk about, in this video is just some of the questions that you guys sent either over Twitter or in YouTube comments. And so I guess what should we start out with? What we were going to talk about is how do you create larger Python projects? How do you manage them? And I was really excited to ask you that question because you're one of the authors or contributors to the SaltStack project, which is a huge Python project. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what it is, what it's about.
Yeah, I'm probably the 50th biggest contributor, so I'm not even in the top league.
Right.
But it's the SaltStack project and the StackStorm project. Both are huge code bases, and really both of them I think have a few approaches for basically what happens when it's all about the team and how big the team becomes. It's not necessarily about how much code you have. So typically when you have a lot of code, you've got a lot of developers. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of the problems you actually have to resolve in the application are more about the team structure, communication and processes and how they work with each other, less than about the actual technical problems. So you end up basically building technical solutions to people problems. And those people problems are, you've got one team working on the front end, for example, or one team working on maybe how the application interfaces with another API, and they want to release different features individually or toggle things on and toggle things off. And this is really kind of this style where you've got multiple services and multiple packages that make up an application. Mm-hmm. So as an application gets bigger and bigger, it basically becomes an ecosystem of lots of smaller applications. Now, modern terminology, I guess, refers to this as microservices, which is a separate topic. But really the principles are quite similar, which is that you're deploying lots of smaller applications individually. Now what you then need to figure out is...
So is this sort of like the old, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
It's one bite at a time. You divide and conquer that problem. And I also wanted to follow up, like you were saying, the project structure matches the organizational structure. Is that what you were saying? I got the sense that was...
different teams have done it different ways. I've seen... there's a joke that you basically have a microservice for each team.
Yeah.
And it's each team that doesn't talk to each other has their own microservice.
Yeah.
It's not normally that bad, but in large applications, then definitely you want a team to be working on a releasable application, a releasable component by themselves. And if you're working in an Agile Scrum methodology, that's typically how you would do it. So that team, that Scrum basically gets together and they can release that part of the application. But if you're building, something like as big as Instagram, for example, it's not like
they're over there, we can see them.
Yeah, it's not like there's not like a daily stand-up with 300 developers standing in a big circle.
Oh yeah.
They've obviously got to split that up and isolate those teams so they can't interfere with each other. So if one team breaks part of the application or they want to make some really fundamental change to the architecture or the database or whatever it is, then you don't want that to impact another team who's working on, the new ad serving component or whatever.
Yeah.
So
you want to be able to parallelize these changes so that you can leverage all the developers that you have, and they're not working this big long chain where everybody's blocking each other from making progress. Yeah.
So really large applications really become about isolation. That's kind of the main theme, I guess, is how things can be isolated from one another so it's not disruptive.
And so how did you break in, or how did you start contributing to this project, and how big was it when you got started? Because this is an insanely huge project. Just to get what could we say to give people a sense of the scale of this? It's hundreds of contributors.
Yeah, over 1,000 contributors, spanning across thousands of modules.
Yeah.
And each module could talk to a different system or a different API. It does so many different things. This is SaltStack. StackStorm is quite similar in that it's a very broad-reaching application. It touches on all sorts of manner of things you might want to interact with. So they're both DevOps tools, which becomes complicated because you're basically interfacing with different systems. How to get into it is same as the elephant, right? You basically try and bite off
Make
a
a
small
little hole
piece.
in like Ace Ventura. No, he's getting out of the elephant. The
Right.
rhino.
My favorite technique is to start off testing. So SolStack, some of the areas of the application that I wanted to work on the actual core code.
Right.
What I would do first is raise a pull request with some new tests. Because if you can understand how to test something to ensure that it works, then you probably can understand enough of it to actually go and change it.
Right.
And also, if you don't know how it works, you probably shouldn't be changing it in the first place. So writing unit tests or integration tests is actually a really easy way to get started in a project. Also,
Building a trust.
you
with
build a
the
trust with
maintainers,
the open source maintainers.
Yeah.
So you can say to them, look, I take testing seriously, here's my code style, here's my code quality. And then once you've kind of done that, then it's easier to then go and jump in and start making improvements.
Yeah, no, very, very interesting. I think it's very cool to hear about your experience because it is such a big project and it is also like I think like commercially a pretty successful project. Or like, I'm not sure if that's the right sort of way to put it, but it is used a lot in a commercial context and people are getting paid to work on that particular project, right?
Yeah. Adobe Creative Cloud runs on SolStack and LinkedIn as well, the infrastructure does.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. That it's like still
it's
all
like
open
tens of thousands
source
of servers.
Yeah, and just the thought that you could be sitting, like when you committed like the first, sent them your first like change set or patch, like where were you working from home? Like where were you at the time, right? Like were you connected with that community in some way, or were you just like, I'm gonna get into this. I like this. Yeah, I want to work on this. Or
yeah, I think it's since I looked at the software, really liked the structure, what they'd done, and could see some gaps, I guess, in functionality that were in my area of expertise, which was around like cloud APIs and provisioning. So I was like, I can help here. And then basically just started off making some small changes, particularly around testing and documentation, because those are nice, easy ones to get started
Everybody
with.
loves that, right? It's like, oh, thank God, like there's someone who's taking care of that.
And then kind of breached out from there. And the team, both of those teams are really, really receptive to external people coming in and making contributions to the project. They were really friendly, really welcoming. The code review process was really straightforward.
Nice.
They gave really constructive comments. I had to make changes and things like that, but you should expect that. I think if you're going into an open source project for the first time, especially if you're not familiar with their code styles and their approach. So just be open-minded, be polite, I would say, as well, and that helps. This is somebody else's house typically you're walking into, so be willing to make adaptations to your code.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy, right? Where it's like you're not just walking into somebody's living room, start rearranging the furniture, but it's like you say hi first, like you ring the doorbell, and you just sort of become a part of that project organically, and build that trust. Yeah, no, very cool. I'm gonna hit the stop button here because I don't want to screw up the recording. All right, next question. So this one is from Dhruv Patak on Twitter. The question was basically about how do you go from Python apprentice to Python expert. So I guess this is about when you know enough about Python to be dangerous with it. Like I feel like as an apprentice, you'd be a little bit after the beginner stage, at least in my sort of interpretation of that. And then how do you go from that sort of intermediate stage to actually being an expert? Oh, hey, no worries, man. Yeah, we're just trying to record like a video but hey folks, so this is Louis. We just met here at the exhibit hall at PyCon. And Louis is a first-time attendee at PyCon, right? Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Because when you do that, when it's your first time at PyCon, you get this, can you show the badge thing again? You get this like little tag on your badge that says first-time attendee. So I thought it was the perfect opportunity to ask you, Louis, like, why'd you come to PyCon? Like, why come here? Why is it a good idea or not a good idea? And why'd you come here?
Yeah, I came from Nicaragua. I traveled for 7 hours to get here, and I'm really excited of being here because I'm learning a lot of very nice people, a lot of experts, and they're sharing their knowledge. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm meeting some interesting people like this guy that I follow his blog, but now I meet him in person.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's really nice meeting you too. And somebody actually left a comment and said, well, I could just meet these people over the internet. Like I don't know, you could send someone an email or like send them a Twitter tweet. Like why actually go and like meet people in person?
Well, it's really nice to shake hands first of all, where you get a closer relationship when you meet the people in person. So and also you feel all the energy that these people is giving and how they share their knowledge. So that's really great.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a good answer. I think it's such a huge difference when you actually go and meet in person, right? And it's you just have a much stronger connection that way with people and much quicker. Well, thanks, Louis.
Thanks to you.